Hey guys, this is Spencer with EGM. I'm here with Matt Buholtz, and we just got done playing a little bit of Quantum Break. We just finished Act 1, and so I guess to start off, what is Quantum Break?
So Quantum Break is a game by Remedy Entertainment. Same people that brought you Alan Wake, Max Payne, and it continues in their tradition of like amazing storytelling. But this one is all about time. So you're playing as a character named Jack Joyce, and he's going to investigate basically a time machine, and you find out that you get all these, kind of time powers out of it. And it's all about stopping a corporation and traveling, not back and forth through time, but like using time and breaks in time to achieve a better ending.
Yeah, and the way they tell the story is really interesting. When you're going through the level, it's not just cutscenes that are telling you the story. There's also like really organic storytelling when you're going through. I realized I'm going through, and if you just pause at a window, you look out and the characters give commentary in a way that like other games have done that, but this has like a really interesting way of doing it.
Well, yeah, like you were saying, there's a spot where you're running through and like it's real easy just to go door to door to door and like make this escape, and everything in the game is telling you that's what you should be doing. It's like, oh, these guys are coming after us, we need to get out of here now. But yeah, if you take your time and you look at something, like they'll actually start having a dialogue about it and talking about what they see. It's like, oh, the helicopter's coming in. They've really called in reinforcements. It's like, oh, like that's such a cool thing that didn't need to be in there, but I'm glad it is.
Yeah, it kind of forces you to go slower, which is not something that in a shooter that you would do very often.
Yeah.
Which is something that I was surprised by about this game, is it is very much a shooter. The shooting feels great. The movement feels great. Why don't you talk about the way the game plays a little bit?
Sure. So, you're, like you said, you're controlled in the third person. Just the movement alone, like as you move, you take cover where you would like want to take cover, like just by moving up to something low, you duck down. Like I like it a lot more than like where you have to tap to cover. It just feels more organic. It feels more natural, and you're ducking, and then you can pop out and take shots. And the controls are really great. And like you hit when you think you should hit. It's not one of those ones where you're like, I'm really trying to aim. You kind of like move, and everything lines up the way that you feel it should, which is great. And then they start integrating your time powers, and then like everything changes.
Yeah, that is something that I love. The game is, you can't play it like a regular shooter. You actually are pretty squishy and stuff, like even on the normal difficulty. And it forces you to use your time powers constantly. You're throwing out, you've got like this time stop power that stops time in a sphere that you can use against enemies, and then you've got these dashes that allow you to get from cover to cover, and you can also like shoulder into people, which is pretty great.
If you dash into them, it like stops time because you're like moving faster than time, and so when you get there, like there's like a time pocket.
I like your like breakdown of the science behind it. Like that's how it works.
My name is Matt Buholtz, PhD in quantum chronotime.
The way that this game uses the word time is very interesting as well. It's very similar.
I'm time doctor.
Yeah, and like the way you go throughout the level and finding things, you can kind of view what's happened in the past by pressing the Y button.
Yeah.
And that's really an interesting way to, because so many games say like, press the up button to find your waypoint or whatever, but this kind of lends some storytelling mechanics to reminding you of what you're supposed to do at that moment.
Right.
I think it's really interesting. So the live action sections are something that I was kind of like on the fence about when I heard about it. It was kind of a weird choice to me. So what is that?
I mean, it's an interesting idea because they're taking this, a very interactive medium. Video games, you're playing the hero, you're living it, and they're applying kind of a choose your own adventure mentality to it. So if you think of it as a cutscene, you're experiencing a 22-minute cutscene, which is it's a lot to like handle at once. Like you go from being very hands-on and doing all this action and this really quick fighting and revealing all these clues to a very passive, like, now I'm going to watch this TV show. And it's a really interesting kind of experience because I don't think I've ever done anything like that.
Yeah. And so why don't you talk about, there's these junction moments, and that seems to be what kicks off the live action portions. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
All right. So what we've seen right now is all of Act 1, and that ended with this kind of junction moment where you're playing as actually the antagonist, which is a real turnaround in a surprise. But you have to make a decision. And what's cool is the antagonist kind of has like, he's lived the future, whereas the protagonist is still coming from like the past and present. And so you have these two joinings of time. And so the junction moments, you're deciding like how you want time to play out. And you've kind of seen both. So when you make your actual decision with your junction powers, you're deciding like, hey, if I do this, I know that it's going to have these consequences. Whereas if I do this, it's going to have these consequences. And at this point, like right now, the consequences both ways are bad.
Yeah.
And you really end up kind of like being like, how do I really feel about it? Because like neither one is like a good choice.
The moral gray area is very present
on both.
Yeah. In the live action what's your impression of just that choice?
I like it because I like when people take a chance. Like I like seeing that, and whether it ultimately works or doesn't, like that's something to be found later. Like we haven't experienced enough of it, but I like the idea and like, you know, the balls to go for it. Like, it's pretty cool because, you know, the graphics, we've hit a point in technology where like the graphics look really good, and you can easily be like, oh, this person is this guy or this person is this guy, and like, you know, Lance Reddick, as soon as he appears on screen, you're like, oh yeah, that's Lance Reddick. Like I know not only that voice, which is so distinctive, but also like, oh yeah, that looks just like Lance Reddick.
Yeah.
And, overall, I think it's a pretty neat idea. I'm just intrigued to see how it continues to mix.
Okay, well, I think that about covers it, right?
Yeah.
That's about everything. So if you like the video, then feel free to subscribe or leave a comment below. And if you're excited about the game.
Yeah, if you have questions about Quantum Break, leave them down there and we'll answer them.
Yeah, so the game comes out on April 5th for PC and Xbox One.
Yeah, all part of that Windows Universal platform.
Yeah. So that is it, yeah.
All right, thanks for watching, guys. And make sure to check out egmnow.com for all your up-to-date news, reviews, previews, all the fun stuff. And thank you for watching.